Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18 exclusively. Sir, my first question to you is on the wage revision. What happened last time? There was no resolution to wage revision. We understand that INTUC has again called for a 3-day strike starting October 6. So, where does the wage revision issue for Coal India stands?
See, the wage revision negotiations are going on. It's a complicated process. You know, there are huge number of employees. So, we are moving forward cautiously. I am hoping that in the first fortnight of October it will be closed.
Okay. Do you anticipate increase in coal prices since the wage is getting higher for Coal India? Do you expect Coal India to increase prices anytime soon?
No, I won't like to hazard any guess. Government has no say in coal pricing. It is for the Coal India board to decide. And depending on their wisdom, they will decide what is to be done.
There have been some of the law and order issues at Mahanadi coalfield, which is also one of the largest in terms of production and sales. Apart from that, there has been a Supreme Court order with regards to compensation for violating environment norms in the past. So we understand that close to 3,000 crore is the penalty being sought by the Odisha government for violating the environment norm. So what will be the impact and what is government doing to improve the law and order situation?
We are in touch with government of Odisha. Coal India management, MCL management obviously is in constant touch. Even I have had discussions with Chief Secretary twice. I also met the Chief Minister of Odisha on 11th of August, and we have impressed upon Odisha administration that if situation in Talcher doesn't improve, then their coal supply and the coal supply to entire country might get affected. MCL coal is having very good demand. And it also supplies to southern India. So we have emphasized the importance of production there. There are issues, I must admit. Yesterday, Chief Minister of Odisha was here. He called on the Coal and Railway Minister, and our minister, very strongly put forward this argument that if we do not see improvement, then we might cut production targets from that state, which will lead to a loss for the state in terms of royalty revenue. Chief Minister has assured that they will resolve all issues and things should proceed smoothly. But as of now, I think there is a problem in MCL. And this is the only subsidiary whose target for the current year is less than what it achieved 2 years back. So this is something which is a cause for worry. We are making up the production from other subsidiaries, but I hope things will improve.
Coming back to the production issue that you said, so do you think Coal India will be able to meet the target of 600 million ton this financial year?
Yes, of course. We are on course, and people are galvanized. We are supplying coal much more than what we did last year. It is on an aggregate about 8% higher dispatch this year till date. And for power sector, our supply has been 14.4% higher in the month of August.
Yes.
And it's about 24% higher in this month, September. So things are looking up. There is demand for thermal power, CIL has galvanized to supply coal, and I'm sure that we'll be able to achieve the target.
So is there any plan to increase the rakes and production for the power sector? Because in the past, in just a few weeks back, there was shortage of coal. And do we anticipate railways to increase rakes for the power sector specifically?
Yeah, see, I don't agree with you on the use of word shortage of coal. There is no shortage of coal. As of today also, we have about 33 million tons of stock with Coal India.
Okay.
So, coal is not in short supply, but logistics is an issue.
Okay.
And it cannot be solved overnight. There are many projects with, connectivity basically for the remote mines, which are under implementation and have been delayed. So, we are in touch with railways, in continuous dialogue with them. And it's good that now the minister is the same. I'm sure projects will be accelerated. So once the logistics improve, any amount of coal can be supplied. We have given an aspirational target of 250 rakes per day to Coal India and railways, and officers are trying to meet that target.
Okay.
And I have also told them to supply at least 215 to 220 out of that.
Okay.
For the power sector.
Okay. Coming to the other big bang announcement which can be expected from the coal sector could be on private sector participation in the commercial mining. Some of the reports suggest that royalty increase would be one of the methodology for allotting these coal mines. Could you throw some light as to what is the contour of the entire process of handing over the coal mines to the private sector so that there is a competition with the monopoly like Coal India?
Yes, we have planned to auction mines for commercial mining to private sector operators. And in our assessment, this is going to be probably a very, very significant and major reform for the economy. I have a feeling that with the cooperation of all, this will help in priming the economy again. What we had done, I'll take a few minutes to explain. Since this is a very significant step, we thought we should go very transparently and cautiously right from the beginning. So in the month of March, towards the end, we had put forward a discussion paper in public domain. And we had received a lot of suggestions based on which we have formulated a proposal which was discussed first in an interministerial committee, and the committee has discussed three methodologies for auction.
Okay.
First is the revenue sharing model. Obviously, as the name suggests, in that, the revenue has to be shared with government a certain percentage, and the bidding criteria would be what percentage people can share, and it will be ascending forward auction. The second methodology which we discussed was reverse auction, on the basis of selling price of coal. That was also discussed in the interministerial committee because we thought that this may be an opportunity to reduce the price of coal. So taking Coal India price as the base, it was a reverse auction. So as much discount as possible. And the third one, for its sheer simplicity, was considered as fixed rupees per ton. So these three methodologies have been discussed, and now we have circulated a note for interministerial consultation, will go to cabinet, and depending on what is ultimately the consensus,
Okay.
The cabinet will take a view.
So in the first tranche, how many coal mines would be up for auction under the commercial mining for the private sector? And do you see appetite from the private sector, since we are seeing that power sector as well as the steel sectors are under stress, are under the insolvency proceedings? So how much appetite do you see for these mines?
I see good appetite because people have been coming and meeting, showing
Okay.
interest.
Mm-hmm.
In the consultations also, they had come in large numbers. You see, currently the linkage is up to a certain percentage, which is 75% for the recent plants,
Yes.
and 90% for the old plants.
Mm-hmm.
So still there is some gap which everybody wants to have coal for, and commercial mining will help. So I have a feeling that people would be interested.
Mm-hmm.
We are certainly interested. We want efficient miners. We also want good practices, which are the global good practices in terms of efficiency as well as environmental management come in. We want good competition to come in so that market develops for coal in the country, and the country moves forward with a vibrant coal market.
How many coal blocks would the government put up for auction under this commercial mining?
We may put up about 5-6 to begin with.
Okay. Okay.
Some big, some medium size or small, to cater to all kinds of needs.
Okay. Coming back to Shakti, which was approved by the cabinet just few months back, and that was also supposed to relieve some of the companies which are under the financial stress. What is the status? How much of coal has been auctioned under Shakti, and how many projects do you see will get a boost from this auction?
Shakti was a decision which was also quite significant for this sector because it has completely changed the paradigm of making coal available from coal shortage scenario to adequacy to surplus state. And now we are saying anyone who plans a thermal power plant is assured of coal. He doesn't have to wait.
Okay.
So it had different provisions for different kind of consumers, either existing or potential.
Okay.
And some of the existing coal consumers were in distress. For example, there was a category which had PPAs but no linkage.
Yes.
So that we looked at, and we had carefully formulated a policy in which there would be enough transparency and enough competition, and still there would be linkage provided. So we are very happy that the Shakti auction for those power plants which had PPA, that has successfully been done, and about 27, slightly more than 27 million ton coal has been booked as a linkage. And I would feel that all those power plants which had PPA, they had all participated.
Okay. Okay.
So it should reduce a significant percentage of the stress in the sector.
True. There was also a provision of getting coal supply, coal linkage for the imported coal-based power plants. There was a mention that guidelines for that will be issued later. By when can we expect that guidelines to come in place?
Yeah, an interministerial committee is looking at it.
Okay.
Our sister ministry, power ministry, feels that it is much more complicated. So they are carefully considering it as soon as possible, but it's difficult to provide any time frame.
Okay. Can we also ask you about the status of all the coal blocks which have been auctioned post the deallocation which was announced by the Supreme Court in its order? So all of the coal blocks which were auctioned, what is the status like? What is the production from those specific blocks which were auctioned?
See, allocation of 84 coal blocks has happened.
True.
Some by allotment to
Yeah.
the PSUs and some by auction.
Mm-hmm.
And the macro picture is about 15 coal blocks have started production, both private and public sector.
Okay.
And about half are on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
About half are not on schedule.
Okay.
Whichever are not on schedule, we have issued notices
Mm-hmm.
and also examined their replies.
Mm-hmm.
And we find that in some cases the fault is theirs.
Okay.
So we'll take some punitive action.
Okay. Some of the companies which have given up on the coal blocks are Monitor Ispat, SR Power, and one block is of Damodar Valley Corporation. Due to financial stress, they have given up on the coal blocks. So what action do you anticipate for them?
So whatever was stipulated will be done.
Okay, okay. Coming back to the coal auction guidelines, since there has been only 15 coal blocks which are under production out of 84, which is both auction and allotment, there is a deacceleration of production in terms of since in 2015 the first coal block was auctioned. Do you plan to change the rules, because Mines Ministry is finding tepid response from these auctions of mineral? Will Coal Ministry also relook at the auction rules for coal block auction?
No, the rules cannot be changed now for those blocks which have been auctioned already.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would vitiate the auction process.
Mm-hmm.
But we are looking at certain provisions which may facilitate more
Mm-hmm.
production.
Okay.
And an interministerial committee has been again constituted,
Mm-hmm.
which has finalized its report for PSU allocators,
Okay.
which essentially says that as per Act,
Mm-hmm.
provisions of the Act,
Mm-hmm.
if they want to provide coal to some other plants also, provided there is greater public good involved and greater efficiency involved.
Will it be swapping?
Yeah, no, not swapping. So it is exactly as per the Act provisions. So that
Okay.
OM has been issued. You can have a look at.
Okay.
See.
Okay. But will there be
For
any
the
changes for the auction?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming
Yeah.
to. So for the private sector, that group is still looking at
Okay.
what can be done.
But Coal Ministry is open to changes to the
Certain provisions which may facilitate production,
mm-hmm.
because that's our purpose.
Mhm.
Our purpose is to have more production.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever facilitates it, we will certainly look at it.
Okay. Piyush Goyal had said that India will be producing 1 billion ton of coal by 2020. Is that target still on? And what are the measures being taken by the Coal Ministry? And has the renewable penetration lowered the demand for coal?
The target is still on.
Okay.
What we have done is we have appointed a professional to do some study,
Mm-hmm.
Vision 2030,
Okay.
for Coal India.
Mm-hmm.
And they are expected to look at all developments
Mm-hmm.
since this announcement was made.
Okay.
So, increased renewables is one.
Mm-hmm.
Paris Agreement is another.
Okay.
And looking at all of this, we will take a call in due course
Okay.
whether that target needs revision.
Okay.
As of now, the target remains.
Mm-hmm.
as far as deceleration in the coal demand that you are talking of, I think only 2 days back, the Prime Minister, while announcing Saubhagya scheme, he mentioned that while between 2009 and 14 there was only a 34 million ton increase in coal production. Thereafter, in 3 years, which is 15 till 17, there is a 93 million ton increase in coal production for the country, and it has reached 659 million tons. So that data doesn't show any deceleration. Going forward, if you look at 3 broad time frames, short term, medium term and long term, or say up to 2030, maybe 2040 and up to 2050, I see up to 2030 the prospects of coal are quite bright.
Okay.
Up to 2040 it will be good, not very bright but good. And up to 2050 it will be okay.
Okay.
But I am pinning my hopes on what is called carbon capture, use and storage.
Okay.
Recently I led a delegation to US, and all major economies are working on this.
Okay.
If we succeed in having a good technology for carbon capture and use, in terms of enhanced oil recovery or enhanced CBM, then again this sector will pick up.
Okay.
Because coal will be burnt, but CO2 will not be let off in the atmosphere. It will be captured and used for producing something else.
True.
So that's how I look at it. Since I have been the chief negotiator of the country in climate change negotiations, I am aware of our responsibilities, and we are working towards it.
Thank you very much, sir. All the best for the 1 billion target by 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.